If you're in need of some Christmas craft inspiration, then this one's for you. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Liz. For today's video, I have some Christmas crafts that you guys are going to love. So without further ado, let's jump in. For this DIY, I grabbed this scrap piece of wood that I had laying around in my garage. It's a 1x8 and then approximately 17.5 inches long. And I'm going to start by painting the entire thing in one good coat of my Waverly chalk paint in white. Once that is all nice and dry, I'm going to take this masking tape, this just came from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use this to create a buffalo check pattern. So I'm going to start with a piece of tape. I'm going to tape that to the bottom of my wood, and then I'm going to take another piece of the tape and use it as a spacer. I'm just going to continue to lay my tape down using the spacer afterwards, and then lay the tape down, the spacer, and just back and forth until I get to the top. I took this Waverly chalk paint in silver lining and I'm going to paint in between all of those pieces of tape. I took a sponge brush and did up and down dabbing motions, but I'm also going to use some paint brushes for this as well. So the biggest thing I could recommend is just doing up and down dabbing motions and not going side to side, whether you're using a sponge or you're using a paintbrush. You'll go ahead and remove that tape, wait for your paint to be all the way dry, and then you are going to do the exact same thing, just the opposite direction. So I'm going to take my tape, lay it down, take a spacer and lay that down, and then more tape and just back and forth until the entire thing is covered. Now for my next color, I just used a bit of a darker gray. I just mixed some black and white paint together, and then afterwards I realized that I had a darker gray that could have worked perfectly. So just take a darker paint color, whether that be gray or whatever color of paint that you're using, just a bit of a darker color than the first one. Now I'm going to leave that tape there and I'm going to take my third section of tape. I'm going to put this on top of where we put our first tape down originally. So you can kind of see where those white stripes are already on the board, and I'm just putting my tape back on top of there. So now you're going to take some black paint and you are going to paint all of those squares that are no longer covered by the tape and just paint all of those black. Once those are done, you are just going to remove the tape from your entire piece. So all the vertical and all of the horizontal tape, you're just going to remove it all and you'll be left with a fun buffalo check pattern on your piece of wood. I think this is fun, you know, just with your regular black and white buffalo check, or you could do this with some other fun colors. And I just think it turns out so nice. Next, I grabbed this Merry Christmas sign from Hobby Lobby. It was $2.99 and then it was also 50% off. So I got it for about $1.50, and I thought that it was a really great deal, especially for the quality. So I just started out by staining it. This is with my Voodoo stain from Dixie Belle. I love their stains just because it's water-based and it's not stinky, so I can use it in my craft room without it, you know, stinking up the place. So I just did that first and kind of painted it on with a paintbrush and then wiped off all the excess with the paper towel. Now I grabbed this Crackle Medium from Folk Art. I've done this in the past before on one of my other projects where I lay my Crackle Medium down on top of the stain and then paint over it, and then the paint turned out all crackly and fun. This didn't turn out for some reason. I'm not sure why or what I did wrong, but I painted on there and then added my paint on top of it, and I did use a chalk paint and it didn't crackle. I'm not sure why. This is the Dixie Belle chalk paint in Barn Red, and yeah, it didn't work. So not sure what happened, but I still think it turned out cute anyways. I haven't used Crackle Mediums enough to know why it didn't work. This was just the second time that I've used it, but anyways, I decided, since it didn't work, that I was just going to go ahead and distress it on my own. So I just took some sandpaper and just ran it over the entire thing. I wanted it to have a very distressed look to it. So I just took that sandpaper and ran it along all the edges as much as I could and just tried to rough it up a bit. After that, I'm just going to use my wood super glue that you can get from the Dollar Tree. I just put it all over the back of my words and then centered it as best as I could on my sign. Lastly, I took some twine and I wrapped it around each side 2 times, tying it in a double knot in the back. And that is all you got to do for this DIY. I think this one is so much fun and super affordable considering the words were only $1.50. The wood, I don't know, maybe $1 or $2 in wood. And then obviously your paint and everything like that. So probably under $5 for this whole project. And I think it turned out adorable. Popping in here really quickly to let you know that I have a monthly subscription box. If you enjoy DIYing, wood craft kits, scrapbook paper, then you'll definitely want to check out my monthly subscription box where every single month you get a wooden craft kit along with some coordinating scrapbook paper to go along with it. I will leave the link down in my description box. Also, this week I'm launching my Christmas craft kits, so definitely stay tuned for that and keep an eye on my website. I'm not quite sure, but most likely on Thursday of this week, I will have all of my Christmas craft kits up on my website. We've got tier trays, we've got shelf sitters, we've got signs, and my Christmas paper is already up on my website. If you want to check it out, I will leave it linked down below. So good things to come this week. Keep an eye out for it, and let's go ahead and jump into our next DIY. For this DIY, I found these wooden snowmen from Hobby Lobby. You get them in a pack of 6 for $4.99, but they were on sale, so you got them for $2.50. I also found smaller snowmen, very similar to this from the Dollar Tree. You get 8 in a pack for $1.50. They are considerably smaller, but I decided I wanted to use both of them for this project, so I took 3 of each and I'm going to paint the snowmen all white, and then I will paint all of their hats with my Waverly chalk paint and ink. Next, I just go through and take a really small detailed paintbrush and I'm putting some buttons on the snowmen along with their eyes and their mouths. And then for their nose, I just use a paint pen to draw a little carrot on there. Next, I found this shadow box for $5 at the Target dollar spot just a couple weeks ago, and they had a whole bunch of different sizes and shapes. I'm also going to take this Chocator transfer that says Hello Winter and has a whole bunch of different snowflakes on it. So because this is glass, I'm going to go ahead and fuzz up my transfers a ton to make sure they're not sticking too much to the glass, because I don't want them to stick so much that I end up stretching the transfer. So you just want to make sure that you fuzz it a bunch. And then I just place these snowflakes all over until I have them where I want them. And then I'm also going to place the word winter down in the bottom right corner. I'll go in with hello after that one's done, but I just got all of those on there. And then I'm using my chalk paste in bright white, and on a really small detailed squeegee, I'm just taking that chalk paste and going over all of my transfers and then peeling those up when they're done, and you have some fun snowflakes all over. You could also use some stickers if you wanted to, and I'll also leave the name of this transfer down in my description box so that you can find it as well. And then when all of my snowflakes and winter word are all nice and dry, I went back in with the word hello and just did the exact same thing, added that bright white chalk paste just above the word winter, and then that is done. Next, I'm going to take some trees that you can get from the Dollar Tree, and then my snowmen that I made, and I'm just going to start hot gluing this inside of my shadow box. I just kind of played around with the arrangement, added my snowmen and my trees in, just a random assortment, and glued those all in there. You just want to make sure that you're gluing them far enough that you'll still be able to slip your backing right back into place. Next, I'm going to take the backing of the shadow box. I added some Mod Podge and I had some of this fake snow. I believe I picked this one up from Hobby Lobby, but you can also get this from the Dollar Tree. And I just kind of sprinkled this all over there. And then I also added some Mod Podge inside of my shadow box itself so that the faux snow would stick to that as well, so that it looked like there was snow all along the trees and the snowmen. Lastly, I'm just going to slip that backing right back in, and that is it for this one. I think this turned out so cute and I love the shadow box effect to it. I picked up a couple more of these, so definitely stay tuned for future DIYs where I'm going to use these because I think that they are so much fun. For this DIY, I picked up a couple of these paper mache trees that you can get from Hobby Lobby and some fabric. The trees were $6.99 on sale, 50% off. And then, like I said, the fabric, it also came from Hobby Lobby. I am going to make some gnomes out of these. I thought these turned out so cute, and I love gnomes. If you've been watching my channel, you know that I am a sucker for some cute gnomes. So the first thing I did was take my fabric that I got and I wrapped it around the top of the tree form just to see how much fabric I needed. And I'm going to take this fur material that also came from Hobby Lobby. They have a whole bunch of different kinds of faux fur that you can get from there. And I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm going from the back and just kind of picking through that material. I don't want to cut any of the fur, so I wouldn't recommend doing this with scissors, but just taking your X-Acto knife and going up through there just makes it so that the backing is cut and the fur is not. Next, I'll take my hot glue and I'm going to hot glue this just high enough so that the bottom of the fur is touching the bottom of the cone so that you don't see the bottom of that cone very well. And then I just hot glue the rest of it around the tree form. And then I'm going to take that fabric. I didn't want the raw end to show, so I decided to hot glue that down so that it looked like a finished edge from where the fabric meets the fur. Next, I just started hot gluing my fabric around the tree form. Now, you want to make sure that you're hot gluing your fabric over top of the fur so that the top of the fur doesn't show. And then one piece of advice is to not add hot glue to the fabric where you're going to add your nose later. I ended up accidentally doing that and had to pry the glue up from the tree form so that I could fit his nose underneath the top of the fabric. So just keep that in mind as well. Now, I didn't want my hat to be just completely, flat against the tree form. I wanted it to have some texture. I wanted it to almost look like it was oversized. So I just hot glued the fabric together in the back, but didn't add any more glue anywhere else so that there were a bunch of folds throughout the hat. And then I gathered up the top of the hat and added some twine around the top and wrapped that around several times, tying it in a double knot just so that it had, more of a finished look in the front. And then I'm just going to take these flat half beads that you can get from Hobby Lobby, and I just glued that right underneath the top of his nose. And that is it for this guy. And then for my second gnome, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I have some more beard material that I picked up from Hobby Lobby. I am just going to hot glue that around the cone. And then I picked up this really fun, kind of soft, fuzzy fabric from Hobby Lobby. I thought this one was fun and looked very, kind of wintry. So I'm going to wrap that around. And this time I made sure not to add any hot glue to the front of the hat so that I could lift it up and have my bead go under there. So I hot glued it on the sides and then hot glued it in the back. And I just kind of folded my material over, added some hot glue, folded my material over again. So again, I'm going for a very messy, loungy kind of look to this. And then I wanted to incorporate some twine, so I tied some twine around the bottom part and the back, and then I twisted it around his hat, going different ways to the top, and then crossing it all over, going down. So I just think that it gave it a really fun kind of wintry look to it. And then I just tied it in the back and tied it in a double knot where I tied it in a double knot before, and then added his nose, added some hot glue to the top of his nose, and folded that fabric down on top. And that's it for my two gnomes. I think they turned out so cute. You could also paint the paper mache in the back if you wanted to. I didn't think it was too big of a deal, but I think these are so much fun and so cute. And they also had different sizes of these tree forms, so if you wanted different size gnomes, you could get bigger ones and smaller ones. I just think these turned out so cute. For this DIY, I have a 16-inch wooden round. This was actually cut out from our laser machine, but you can find big rounds like this at Lowe's, Home Depot. You might even be able to find some at Hobby Lobby. So I'm going to start by painting this with my Waverly chalk paint in white, and I just gave the front one good coat. Next, I am going to be using a Chalkator transfer with this, so I'm going to take my Chalkator surface wax, and I just applied this to the bottom half of my sign because I'm only going to be doing this on the bottom half. On the top half, I'm going to be using this Dixie Belle rub-on transfer, and I found these ones. I think that they were new this year. I've never seen them before, but they had a bunch of fun Christmas foliage. It's called the Evergreen and Holly, and I thought that these were just beautiful. So I found this one kind of like a half wreath with these two pink roses. I thought it was gorgeous. So I tried to just center it as best as I could at the top of my sign. I did end up having one of the leaves kind of cut off a little bit, but that wasn't too big of a deal to me. And it comes with this giant stick that you are just going to rub and rub and rub. These are like the Dollar Tree rub-on transfers, but on steroids. I mean, they are so detailed and so beautiful. I just love them so much. So you're just going to rub. I just kind of pull up as I go. So as I'm rubbing, I'm pulling up that carrier sheet, and if anything comes up that's supposed to be stuck down, I just lay it back down and rub over it some more. And you're going to do that until the entire thing is stuck to your sign. Next, I'm using this Chalkator transfer that says "This Home Believes." I'm just using the words for this one, and I'm going to use my fuzzing cloth to fuzz my transfer so it doesn't stick too much to my sign. And then I'm going to lay this down with the Believes centered on the sign. I'm going to use my chalk paste in black, and I'm going to go over the word Believes. I'm just going to use my squeegee to get that on there, make sure that it's all nice and covered, and then I'll pull that up. I wait for the word Believes to dry, and then I'm going to lay my transfer back down. I did put the carrier sheet behind the word Believes so that I didn't have any black going onto my sign that I didn't want there, and I just tried to center the "This Home" and then added my black chalk paste on top of it and removed it, and that is it for this one. I think that this turned out so pretty. I think this would be gorgeous in the middle of a large wreath on your front door, but I think with the flowers and the words, I think this one turned out so beautiful. That's it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know which project was your favorite in the comments down below. Don't mind my filming in my closet because we are having construction going on today in our basement and in our main floor. It's been several months of just noise all the time, so this is where I hid to film so that it was somewhat quiet, along with my children who are on fall break. So it's a bit of a madhouse in here today. So And then I feel like I've been sick ever since my kids have gone back to school. So if I sound super nasally in my videos, I'm so sorry. But I guess that's just what you get when you have kids going to school. You're pretty much sick all the time. Don't forget to subscribe before you guys leave. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.